Hi everyone, thanks for joining us at In the Know. We're catching up with some of your favorite celebs, reality TV stars, and more direct from their homes. I'm your host, Gibson Johns, and today we're joined by Bobby Berk, 1/5 of the Fab Five from Netflix's Queer Eye. Bobby and I chatted about the convergence of the Black Lives Matter protests and Pride Month, and he opened up about changes that he wishes to see as a result. We also talked about partnering up with Lowe's to help engaged couples put together socially distanced weddings using their outdoor spaces, his best tips for quarantine, the most recent season of Queer Eye, and much more. Keep listening for my full interview with Bobby. Bobby, thanks so much for calling in. How are you doing?
All things considered, not bad, alive and healthy.
Good. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't start by just sort of addressing what's going on in the country right now. If you're comfortable doing so, I'd love for you to just kind of share some of your thoughts on sort of how the Black Lives Matter protests have converged with Pride Month this year and how you've seen that kind of shifting the conversation within the LGBTQ community specifically.
I actually love that the two movements have converged together because honestly, they started out together.
Mm-hmm.
Pride was started by riots by Black trans women. It was started by people of color, and without those movements, Pride wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have the rights that we have now. So the fact that Pride has been, married together, for no pun intended, with what we're talking about today, this month, for everyone coming together to support each other is so important. It's so important to be able to educate people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people in the LGBT community, aren't really necessarily that educated about the Black Lives movement and
Certainly.
how the Pride movement started. So I think it's been the perfect moment to educate our community on how our community acquired the rights that we have and
Mm-hmm.
how we need to now be there to support the Black Lives Movement matter. Pride, of course, is very different this year with Black Lives Matter movement and COVID. 2 years ago, I was on a float and Pride marrying couples.
Looked very different, right?
Yeah, and this year I'm helping marry couples in their backyard.
Exactly.
So very different.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, I think that there's so much going on that sometimes I actually think that people forget that we're actually in the middle of another pandemic, which is COVID, and it's really affecting so many people's lives. And you've been working on this really cool project with Lowe's where you surprised a bunch of people who had wedding plans that were totally thrown for a loop. Talk to me about this project, because it really is. It's pretty heartwarming. I think we need some of that right now.
It was the perfect marriage when Lowe's came to me about this, because I have so many friends right now whose weddings have been delayed, or they just decided to cancel it, not the whole wedding, but cancel the destination wedding.
Right.
Even one of my best friends, I was supposed to officiate the wedding down in Mexico. So when they came to me to this, I was like, this is so close to my heart. It's so personal right now. It couldn't be more perfect. Not to mention my wedding was a surprise. My husband proposed and had the wedding planned on the same day and surprised
I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yeah. So it was kind of just so many things coming together with this project. And just the fact that I align on so many issues with Lowe's.
Mm-hmm.
They're a great supporter of not only the LGBTQ community, but the Black Lives Matter movement. And I like working with companies who think like me.
Yeah, I think more people should think like that too. It's like,
exactly. If more people would think with their wallets,
yes,
exactly,
Mm-hmm.
their wallets and their votes. You can't be an ally. We won't.
We can. The long conversation.
Very fresh on my mind.
Yes.
With the Logic Fair this week, last week we've had lots of interviews about everything going on, and
mm-hmm.
It's hard.
It brings up a lot. Yeah.
But like I said, it was just the perfect marriage, just because it brought together so many things that are going on in the world right now, and then so many things that are going on in my personal life with close
Mm-hmm.
friends. So it was great and a lot of fun.
And so you surprised, I think, 5 couples with one-on-one consultations for their weddings for this month, and how they can and kind of giving them tips on how they can reassess their outdoor spaces, specifically to have these sort of socially distanced small mini ceremonies. How did that go, and what were those kind of conversations like?
It was a lot of fun. The show only having been out for a few years, I'm always a little apprehensive when I'm going on to surprise somebody, because I'm like, what if they have no idea who I am? Like, they're going to be really disappointed when they're like, there's a special guest coming, and then they're like, hi, who are you? um,
You're too humble. I
but
think I feel like there can't be that many people that would think that way.
luckily none of them did, and it
Good.
was fun. It's always nice when that can be an added surprise, especially if they're fans of Queer Eye. A lot of times I get messages constantly asking for me to help them with their house or
Right.
help them design their weddings. So it was really fun to be able to surprise people, because I'm missing that right now. We were filming in Austin when this all went down, and so production was halted. And
Hmm.
I haven't got my fill of surprising people with designs
Right.
recently. So this was fun to do.
Hmm.
It was also fun. One of the couples at the end, which ended up being my favorite couples. I was told, they're soft spoken. They're the other ones are really outspoken. They're a little shy. You might have to pull answers out of them a little more. And the moment I came on, they were both like, and
Oh,
ended up having the most fun. They're a couple out in Brooklyn, and
love it.
I always love it when people surprise you,
Snap out of it.
because
Right.
it was the end of the day, and I'm like, all right, let me muster my energy to if they're a little soft spoken, maybe a little nervous, but I love it when people just forget cameras are there and just
Totally.
talk to you like your friends. It was so
Hmm.
much fun.
Yeah.
It's been fun putting it together for all of them, because they're all such great, deserving couples who have such
Hmm.
beautiful stories and are so in love. And to be able to take something that was a huge disappointment, to a few of them, the girls were like, I cried for days. It was really great to be able to partner with Lowe's to bring some excitement and happiness back.
Totally. And it's also must be fun for you because at least on the show, you've done some outdoor spaces here and there, but it's not usually your focus. It's usually sort of these actual rooms in people's houses. Was it
Yeah.
fun to focus on those outdoor spaces? Because I feel like you can almost have more fun with that.
Outdoor spaces are one of my favorites.
Yeah.
My neighbors right now have nicknamed me the friendly Los Feliz neighborhood gardener, because I've run out of things to do in my yard, and I've started doing other people's yards
Hey, I
without
love
even
that.
without asking. Got on Lowe's.com, ordered all my electric weed eaters and extra batteries, and I've
Make the
gone
whole
there to back
block
my
look pretty.
Tesla. Yeah, I'm like, clearly you're busy because you haven't been taking care of your yard, so I'll just do it for you. I've got nothing else to do. Um, so I love doing outdoor stuff. I
Hmm.
grew up in the country. I grew up with
Yeah.
gardening. It brings me back. It warms my soul. So to be able to do design in the backyard is a lot of fun.
Hmm.
Especially, I love it because these spaces are going to be spaces that they're going to be able to continue to use year round.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're going to be able to utilize, especially right now being a pandemic. A lot of us are really utilizing our yards way more. We've had way more little get-togethers for our neighbors in our yards than we ever have. I don't think we ever had a get-together in our
Totally.
yard. And
Hmm.
keep in mind, I've been away filming Queer Eye since we bought our house. But
Yeah. Is is is
um,
is there sort of like a number one rule for outdoor spaces that you go by, or is it kind of just a case by case basis?
it's a case by case
Yeah.
basis.
Hmm.
For weddings or DIY weddings, kind of my rule is try to pick as many things that you're going to be able to utilize year
Totally.
round.
Hmm.
That's what's great about Lowe's.com and the coastal and farmhouse modern and bohemian. It's all looks that aren't just very wedding-y.
Totally.
The way you put it together, it definitely will look wedding-y.
Hmm.
Wedding-y. I don't even know if that's the word. Um,
We're inventing words
but
here.
yeah, the way you're able to move it around afterwards, it's going to make your yard an extension of your home. And especially in people in urban areas, you want to get all the square footage you can, even if it's outdoors.
Totally. So I'm currently in the middle of this newest season of Queer Eye, I'm currently loving it. But I'm curious, sort of which renovations for you have stick out from this recent batch of episodes.
I, People always ask me that. I'm like, that's like choosing what's my favorite kid.
Yeah,
Um,
they're also
it's
different. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and it's funny. In the past, I've been like, oh, this one stood out. It was my favorite, and then I'd hear from other ones be like, well, you didn't
What
like
about
mine. I'm like, all right,
mine?
I love you too. I don't have
No,
a favorite.
I hate that.
Let's see.
For,
I would say the one that probably stuck out the most, because I got to do multiple different things. I got to kind of show people my business background. Before I was a designer, I was a business owner.
right.
I so it was Rihanna, because I
Yes.
not only got to create an amazing apartment for her, but I also got to completely redesign her marketing and branding for her company and design a whole new grooming van for her and give her business advice. And that's not something that I normally get to do. So that one, I think, is one that stood out really a lot. And also Tyreek, because I also got
Yes.
to like coach him on his finances and use some of the situations that I've been through in my life to teach him how to better his. So it wasn't just about design; it was about helping them in other aspects of their life too.
Yeah, I was gonna say Rihanna too, because one, the whole episode was affecting, and it just sort of like it really hit it, like I think even more so than others, which they all do, but this one in particular really kind of hit home. And um I mean, now she has over 160,000
Oh,
followers on
I know.
Instagram,
I was on
verified.
a video. I was on a video call with her for like an hour
Oh
yesterday,
my
and just
God.
because been continuing to coach her with her
Good.
business because I'm helping her expand some things and franchise and license stuff. That's one great thing about social media and our show is like a lot of our heroes like I keep in contact with after and continue to help them like pick out things for rooms that they're designing that I didn't have time to get to. And with Rihanna, like continuing to coach her own business. And she's just such a
That is
wonderful
really,
woman.
I love to hear that. I mean, because you know, I'll see you guys kind of commenting back and forth with some of the heroes, but it's really awesome to hear that, you know, you do it away from social media as well. And it really is like, you do really hit it off with these people and you form these connections. And
You do.
I don't know, that it must be special to
It's
really kind of impact their lives on a greater scale.
it is, for the people out there that are like, oh, this is superficial. It's it's TV. It's not real. It's real. An article came out in the Philly Voice yesterday. They were interviewing Pastor Noah,
Mm,
and they were like, what was your experience? Like, was it real? And he was like, I was honestly blown away by how the experience that I had in real life really did translate on television. He's like, I was blown away by the fact that it didn't feel like I was on a show even when we're filming. And we're always very aware of our experience that we're giving our heroes. And like, we keep them out of any technical conversations or
right.
lighting or audio. Like we always really want them to feel like they're hanging out with five friends, which is what
Yes.
they're doing. And we want it to have a real impact.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and they don't want to feel like there's like the middleman between you guys. It really is about you guys helping.
Yeah, like once they hear any technical talk, then they're like, "Oh, I'm on a TV show. I need to be
Yeah.
guarded. I need to think about what I'm saying." Um, so yeah, like nothing's ever repeated. If a great conversation happens and something was wrong with audio, it's just gone. We're never like,
Yeah.
"Hey, so let's talk about that again."
Yeah, and that's what happens on a lot of reality shows. So that's nice to hear.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I have noticed like just little changes you guys have made over the years to kind of refine the show. What do
Mhm.
you think has been I don't know, like the most impactful or biggest change that Queer Eye has made since it began, even just a couple of years ago?
Hmm. When we cast season 1 and 2, not only did we have no idea what we were doing, we didn't know what we were making. We had seen the original Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, but our show is pretty different than that
Yeah, it
was.
is.
And it was harder to get people on the show. Our casting department had a really hard time getting a large pool of heroes because people
Right.
are like, wait a minute, Queer Eye, what's this? Or maybe they had seen the original and they're like, oh, I don't want my life picked apart.
Hmm.
And it wasn't until season 1 and 2 came out that more people started seeing the show that we had the opportunity to work with a wider group of people because people are like, oh, these people are here to help.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get on here and get pulled apart. I'm not gonna get on here and have a bad experience. I want to be on here. So it really opened our options up to be able to really choose those stories that we wanted to tell.
Totally.
And I think that very much shows in season 5. For example, the Marcos and his family. Um, when we were filming in Philly, it was a time that was going on, and I probably shouldn't when they get into on this interview, but it was a time when there was a lot of really negative rhetoric coming out of the
Hmm.
White House about
Yeah.
um, immigrants coming in from South America, the caravans and this and that, and it was a very it was very much a choice that we
Mm,
worked with an immigrant family,
good.
that we told their story. It was not an option for us to not be able to find that family to speak to
Totally.
and to highlight. So we try, in the beginning, season 1 and 2, the things that ended up being like quote unquote political or those type of conversations, it just accidentally happened.
Right.
Now we're to the point where we're like, you know what? No, this story needs to be told. This story needs to be told. What communities do we need to go into to find those
It's
stories? So
more
I think
purposeful.
that's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's way more purposeful. Like we had no idea what we were doing the
Right.
first 2 seasons. We had no idea what the story was going to be, and not just us, but producers. We
Right.
were all just figuring out as we went along. But now we're like, we have been lucky enough to have this platform to affect change,
Hmm.
and that's what we're going to do. So
Totally.
I think that's probably the biggest thing that's
Yeah,
changed is
yeah, I
we've
love that.
realized the platform and we've realized our responsibility,
Hmm.
and we're taking that as far as we possibly can.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, closing it out, I would love just to hear from you just about how has your day-to-day life changed over the past three months? Like, I mean, like all of us have been just thrown for a total loop, but I don't know, like how have you been sort of just staying, I don't know, like stable and yeah, and sane? Like, what have you been doing
Lots of
anything that,
yard work.
yeah, going back to the yard work, therapeutic.
Yeah, it is, and that's one other thing that we're doing with this campaign is we're focusing on the hashtag Home Unites Us,
Hmm.
because even besides the DIY weddings that we'll be using that hashtag for, like the way you're putting together your backyards, your DIY projects, use this hashtag Home Unites Us. And I'm going to be going through and looking and like commenting on people's
Love it.
projects and giving them tips like I did with Animal House recently. So make sure to mention that for your readers so that way they know that I'll be looking, and some of them I'll
I
actually be
love
giving
it.
advice on.
I love it. Well, you'll be doing some social media stalking, and people should lean
Exactly.
into that.
Exactly.
Um,
I have so much more time to do it right
well, Bobby,
now.
thank you so much. It was so great to talk to you, and continue to stay safe and healthy. For more stories from In the Know, go to intheknow.com. You can also follow In the Know on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and find me, Gibson Johns, on Instagram and Twitter at Gibsonoma. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.